Good morning, beautiful, blessed family. Here I am. This is the 25th of November. So I'm almost at the end of the month, and my goal was to get physically in shape, back into shape, physically, mentally, spiritually, back into shape. So this is what I'm looking like. But I'll tell you a little bit of story about why I always talk about what I look like. During this past, I don't know, 4 years, I came to a new understanding of witchcraft, warfare, and what provokes it. And I did mention that I discovered that my children's fathers were all warlocks. They were all into witchcraft, and I didn't know this because I was clearly someone who believed in God. So I don't know why. I didn't know why. Good morning. Good morning. I didn't know why someone would want to talk to me if I was someone who believed in God. But now I realize that sometimes that's the only way to, if you're a dark person, someone who practices in the dark arts, black magic, you're going to have a target. I guess the easiest way to have a target is if you're close to them. So anyway, I've learned a lot about the children's fathers, about my walk, about why nothing really ever panned out for me in relations to relationships, why every time I came close to marriage, the Lord would always tell me, like, don't. Like, it was just almost audible to not go forward with it. I mean, bought rings, been engaged and not go. And really, to the outside world, it seems like I was just having children and didn't have any, intentions of getting married. I always wanted to get married. I always knew that I'd be a great wife. I knew I loved my kids. That I was a great mom, but I made choices based on ignorance and related to the curse that my family is apparently under. With age comes, dear, believe me when I tell you, that's an understatement. With age comes wisdom, and one of the things I found out is that which I didn't believe before, but now I do believe because the Lord foreknew us, right? And I'm coming across a lot of notions that we existed in previous times, like we had previous existences. And I know if you're a Christian, you might come on here and say, who is this? It's like, who's be saying this and not believe this. But, honestly, really and truly, the Lord is showing me that there's so much that was removed from our word. There's so much in Revelations that's crammed in the book of Revelations that justifies this. Good morning, Grand Rising, my beloved. With this notion, I've come to understand. I used to always, for whatever reason, separate myself from religiosity and not knowing really why. I just knew that people in the church, as we know it, were very hypocritical, judgmental, pompous, arrogant. Like they didn't come to the Lord because they needed a savior. Like they came to the church, like they built the church or whatever. The bottom line is that there's a pompousness to people that go to church, and not many people can relate to the people that go to church as we know it. And I found that as well, even though in my life, my whole life, I always believed in God. Even as a child, my parents raised us to know the Bible, but it was kind of beaten into us. So I know for sure, I can't say for sure, but I know for sure from my perspective that I have siblings that like cringe when they think of church and they think of the Bible because of the way that was presented to us. But for whatever reason, I always felt um like there was a God. Like there were so many things that like the Lord brought me through. But honestly, there were so many things the Lord brought me through because I had been through so many things. Like I think back to when I was a child and all the things I went through. Like no one could really. I can't go to school. When the teacher asks, how was your weekend? What did you do? Blah blah blah. There's so many times I went to school and think to myself, what can I share? But because I had so many terrible experiences the past weekend or the past week, a lot of times, the things that were happening in school would have me, you can see my report cards if they still have them. teachers mentioning how I was daydreaming. I had a lot of thoughts about what was happening at home, how when I get back there, how it's going to be. So I had a lot, and I was sick a lot. So I had a lot of gaps in my learning. Now, back to right now and why I always talk about what I look like. I had a lot of gifts. I realized I had a lot of gifts, a lot of things I could do. I still am that way, to the point where I was confused as to what I should do for a living. Not only did I have a lot of gifts, but I was told that I was attractive and I was athletic and fairly smart. So what the Lord led me to understand is that people will be jealous of you. And I even hate even talking like this because I don't understand why. Because I see people in my life and I always thought they were so beautiful, so smart, and I wanted to cheer them on and hoping that they would cheer me on, but it never really ever went that way. So as I've gotten deeper into this walk, and it became obvious that I have a gift. I have many gifts that are beyond the physical gifts I have, they're spiritual gifts I have. And I always thought that everyone could do what I do, but they cannot. I can see I like I have a seeing gift. I can see ahead of time and et cetera, et cetera. Well, with these gifts, people saw these gifts before I had a realization of them and became quite jealous of me, to the point of being vengeful, manipulative, and creating stories about me that weren't true. I already talked about that. The reason why that's significant is because these people practice magic, witchcraft. And so the past 2 or 3 years, I realized that people can try and swap destinies with you. They can project black magic to cause you to take away your beauty, to take away your gifts, to damage your vehicle, to cause premature death. And all these things I used to pray about, I didn't even know why the Lord led me to pray about them until He revealed to me that some of the things that are happening to me now is because people are panicking about some of the things they've done to me and my children, and they're just, and some of them are just angry for no reason. Like some people just love to hate. Like misery loves company. So all you can see, like right here, there's a darkness. I've been using products to help to like glycolic acid, collagen, stuff like that, to reverse these things. These are things I didn't always have, and I know with age that can happen. But I'm not. How old am I? I'm 57. 57 years old. I know 57-year-old women who don't have these. So this darkness here is something that I'm trying to heal. When I was working the summer with the business, I had to leave. I was in the sun a lot, and a lot of it is, I guess, sun damage as well. So that's part of the healing process I'm going through. As I grew up, I when I was 8 is the first time my hair was permed. I think I talked about this. Those of you who followed my journey for a long time will know that I have been perming my hair since I was 8. I stopped perming it when the Lord led me to in my 30s, and I had done a lot of damage to my scalp, a lot of damage to my hair follicles, and so the idea was to repair the damage that has been done in my ignorance over the course of my life. So, in regards to my hair, I had to learn how to, first of all, love my hair, because my hair, I have a family who seems to don't love themselves. And I'm going to say that's like blatantly, because I've heard a lot of talk about nice hair, not nice hair, about texture hair, bad hair, kinky hair, all kinds of foolishness. And because my hair I have like cotton hair, like the Bible talks about. And to run a comb through your hair will break it. And the Bible talks about having length of hair, and how that's for a woman to have length of hair is her glory. And I used to always think, once I got a little bit older, I used to think to myself, how am I going to have length of hair if every time I put a comb through it, it breaks the hair? So my thinking was how to retain length. Anyway, so part of my journey was, one, to heal the damage that's been done to my face through the Lord led me to understand it was magic, that they were doing reversal of beauty magic. They're also too were doing magic that would cause premature death. So the vehicle that I've been driving, there was like things that happened to it all of a sudden, and I know people can project that kind of thing. Also to my physical body, I've had attacks, and I know that the enemy, the word the enemy is described as being a prince of the air. So a lot of things that ails us, the enemy's been using the air. So chemtrails, the weather manipulation, also to sickness. Sickness, they talk about it being airborne, viruses, etc., etc. I so sincerely believe this. Um, um, because I'm not sick. And I understand that a virus or sickness is a living thing, just like a plant or us. It needs a certain environment to thrive. And if it doesn't have the proper environment, it won't thrive. So, in regards to viruses and sicknesses, um, they can put those kind of things in the air. And I believe, this is just my opinion. This is what I believe they do. But for it to thrive, it has to have a certain environment, and that's where this the attacks from the enemy against my physical well-being and me having to heal emotionally has come in. So people have done some really cruel things, and as they do these really wicked, cruel things, they do magic, and these magic things a lot of times are intended to make me not well, to give me sickness. And there's a period I had gone through a period where they were attacking my lungs. I had a issue with asthma as a child, and they would project this thing. They do wicked things to me, take my things, damage my stuff, spill things in the space that I sleep in here. And I come in and find it. And at the time I would really be upset about it, but now I realize the Lord is allowing it for a reason. So I learned to live by the word and let whatever happen happen, and let vengeance be the Lord's. What I found is the less I responded to these things, the less that the attacks that they do on my physical well-being would stick. So I may feel the projection. I may feel like a little bit of a sneeze come on or whatever. But if I stay within the realm of the spirit, trust the Lord through everything, I didn't get sick. Also, too, they were trying to. I run, like I said, I run 3K plus every day, and today I ran a little bit less because I had to change my route. When the community seems to be involved in what's going on with me for however they do it, however they're communicating with the people in the community. But when I run, people run into my way. I mean, they could like literally cross my path. I have to stop or swerve. I run on the road because it's better on your knees, and I found that people would like drive past me and stop, so I have to run around them, or people, like I said, would cross my path and I'd have to stop or kind of navigate around like when they're going to cross me, and so I could continue to run straight. Or lately they've been through magic playing with the music. I have a tendency to want to need to have, well, I don't need, but I like to have music when I'm running, and it motivates me to run faster. I have my song list, my playlist, and what I'm finding is that when I'm running, the past 2 days, I had mentioned to someone that when I run, I used to listen to soca, which is like a carnival festive kind of music. For those of you who don't know what that is. And lately, when I'm running, it's been shut off. Like I pass a car or pass a person and it shuts off. And I know they know how to do this. These are people from like false religion. So people who are Buddhists, who are Muslim. Well, not Muslim, sorry. Is it Muslim? Buddhist, Sikh, or Hindu are these people that live in this community. And so I've had to fiddle with the music as I went along because I'm such a stubborn person. I just refuse to have them like kind of win kind of thing. And maybe the Lord doesn't want me listening to it. I don't know, but I'm able to kind of play with it and fix it as I'm running. So in relations to, like I said, my physical well-being, whatever they do, it happens when I'm sleeping. So when I'm still. So this is how I know there's people that are in my life that I'm supposed to love. They're supposed to love me, who are involved in this. And so when I get up, I found that my right leg is very stiff and a lot of times swollen. So I had to stretch, I had to massage. And in reality, in our physical being a state of living, people would say you're at the age where you're going to get some stiffness, you're going to get some Alzheimer's, you're going to get some arthritis or whatever else. I refuse to believe that we have to go through those things at this age. I believe our diet plays a part in this. I believe our sitting down a lot as opposed to stretching and being mobile plays a part. So as I said, I'm up in age. I continue to run. I'm fighting this menopausal belly fat that they talk about. I don't believe everything they throw out there because we've had menopause for years. Like this is a part of this stage of life, them telling us that we shouldn't run or we shouldn't do this, we shouldn't that, I don't believe any of it. I believe a lot of it's our diet and our stressful lives we live. So I'm going by the word, and I'm letting God lead me. I'm not letting everything they say change what I do. I love to run. I love to run because when I was a child, like I said, I had asthma. And running was a difficult thing for me. And relations to this swelling, I stretch a lot. I drink a lot of water, and I elevate my legs, especially at night when I'm going to bed, to get the blood flowing. Now I know this is probably lymph because I do find myself excreting a lot of liquid at night. But relations to running, what they want me to do is to not be mobile, for whatever reason. But I've been praying about reversing curses, and it's been working. And so those of you who are on my channel who I know me and are against me, just know the curses you're sending, I'm sending them right back. I'm aware of how this works, and I understand the spiritual realm. And the churches that we're going to right now are not teaching a 1% of what we need to know to survive as Christians. Trust me when I believe when I tell you this. Anyway, so here I am, almost at the end of the month. I'm going to start sharing some of the things that I'm doing in relations to my diet and what I'm using on my skin, what I'm doing with my hair. I might end up doing like maybe a live where I'm sharing like a little bit of my day. Not a live, sorry, a video where I've had to do lives because when I do a video, things are deleted, things are messed up. So I haven't been doing videos per se. I've been doing lives, and I'm gonna play with them. I'm gonna see if I can edit it and put one up here because I want you guys to see like what's been happening. Now in relations to past lives and the idea that when the Bible talks about the Lord foreknew us, that we actually choose our parents and et cetera, before we are conceived. I have two stories to share about that. One, I met somebody. I didn't meet somebody. I knew this person, but I reconnected with a person who I feel like in my life, I've never in my life met someone who I connect with like this before. In my life. Like I feel like I've known this person for eternity. And that's something, and I'm a mature person. I'm grounded. I'm not silly and ridiculous. I'm not naive. So this is something that I can't wrap my head around. The only thing that can be explained to me and make sense, the Lord revealed to me, is that I probably knew this person in a previous life. So I want to say about that. Two, my daughters, my one of my daughters who I went on a journey with, who's been a part of this journey, a close daughter to me, she, when she was a baby, all my daughters were babies. I have 4 daughters. When they were babies, 6 months, I always said, 6 month mark, I'm going to pierce their ears. So at 6 months, I would go to the mall and I'd find one of those places you get your ears pierced, and I would pierce their ears. My second child, who I know now, the Lord is calling. There's a calling on her life, and she's always known this. She's always used to have prophetic dreams about the end times, etc., etc. Since then, the waiting's been so long. The Bible talks about falling away, blah blah blah. Well, she's kind of not believing what I used to believe, so she's kind of still on the same road, which means she's not religious, but she doesn't believe there's a God. She told me a story that shook me. She told me the story about when her ears were pierced. Mind you, when my daughters get their ears pierced, they're all 6 months old. And 6 months old, she's not walking, she's not talking, she's in diapers, and she's being breastfed. Just tell you that. So she told me, okay, when she was 6 months old, I took her to the mall. This really nice Italian man, stocky, went to the back, had me sit her in my lap, and he marked her ears and pierced her ears. She cried so hard and so long. Like my other girls, you pierce their ears, they may cry for a second, but they stop. You're able to breastfeed them and comfort them, they stop. not this one. This child, she cried, she cried, she cried, she cried. She's a crier. She was a crier. It's like she had an old soul with no words to kind of share what was going on with her. So fast forward to a couple years ago, she told me that she remembers getting her ears pierced. And I said, how in the world could you remember getting your ears pierced? You were 6 months old. She goes, yeah. So she went on to describe the store, the man, what happened, everything. The only things that she didn't talk about was how I tried to breastfeed her afterwards to kind of make her quiet. And my, my breast just kind of sat in her mouth. She was so upset. She did. And believe me, all my girls love to be breastfed. So she remembered every detail. It's like as she just talked about the situation, I remembered everything so clearly. And so to me, it just makes me think, like, like we think that children come to this world with a blank slate. I don't think so. She seemed to, and even now, she's a very old soul, very old soul. She seems to know a lot. All my girls that same way, but she's so gentle and meek. And she's got a hardness to her, not because she wants to be, as a survival. It's just almost like me. But let me tell you, she's the sweetest thing. Like my daughter, I just like I look at her and I adore all of them, but there's something about her kindness that people would mistake for weakness, and that's where her kind of like hardness comes in. Anyway, I talked to her about her, reminded her about the calling on her life and the possibility of being chosen. So pray with me as I pray about her waking up to the calling, because it's harder for people who are young, because a lot of people that are young right now in their 20s or whatever else are not optimistic about what is to come, what's coming, in regards at least just to like having a life and getting married. And people don't like, when I was younger, I could see myself having a job and having that job possibly for a lifetime. I could see myself having a house. I could see myself getting married. I could see myself traveling. There's people were optimistic because we could see a pathway to those things. Now with things being changed so much, it's so difficult for young people to get a job. They don't even know what to go to school for. I mean, how many people can you have in computers? People are just so mean and so cruel. So like a lot of my, most of, not all my girls, I think at least three of the four of them are saying that they don't even want to have children. And that breaks my heart because I would love to dote on a grandchild. But yeah, they don't feel optimistic about, I mean, they have boyfriends, they've had boyfriends, they've dated, but none of them really are talking about like one day I want to get married and have children. They're just not optimistic about this world, and the cruelty therein is discouraging for them. So anyway, I guess we all need healing, but I'm going to share my healing journey with you. So this is what I'm looking like in relations to the magic that's supposed to make you look ugly. I don't know. I'm just learning to love whatever happens with me. I have to. It's just, the Lord allows things. Nothing can happen without his go ahead. So I'm learning to love what's happening with me. Yeah, young people. Yes. So if those of you who have the same passion, wow. Someone mentioned something about fake hair. What I will say about fake hair is this. When I was going through my journey, when I first started my journey, the Lord led me to understand that I should, first of all, my scalp is damaged. I knew it was. Even as a child, I thought to myself, I'm not going to have any hair on my head. So I'll tell you a little bit about how the process was. So I got my hair permed, and because my hair is resistant to perm, like the relaxer relaxes the coils. So what the intentions is that it relaxes the coils. It doesn't go back to its regular state when it's relaxed. And then after about maybe 6 weeks, depending on the texture of your hair, you go back and you relax the new growth. Well, my hair had its own mind and decided it didn't want to break down, but my scalp hated the relaxer. And my hair was never professionally done till I was old enough to pay for it myself. So my mom, who used to do my hair, used to let the relaxer sit on my scalp because she wanted every inch of the hair relaxed. And what happened with that is that the relaxer would burn the scalp. I'd spend 2 weeks after the relaxer, whether it relaxed properly or not, tending to wounds on my scalp, particularly my crown, because my crown was the kinkiest for whatever reason, and the softer parts were around here. So she'd focus up here, and a lot of times the comb would touch the scalp, and irritating the scalp while it's being relaxed causes more damage. Anyway, like I said, I guess maybe 25 years worth of this. So every 6 weeks I go back and do another relaxer. That's a lot of damage. That's like having a cut and continue to picking off the scab. It never will heal that way. So right now, I don't even know in relations to fake hair. I'm not against it anymore. I'm against hair that's been sacrificed or or cut and given for a sacrifice for whatever religion, because the religions do this. Certain religions will cut their hair off when it gets to a certain length and donate it as a sacrifice. So I don't know. I'm torn because for my texture hair to really grow, it needs to not be touched. And to be, if you're a professional in this society, you have to go to work looking presentable for whatever that may look like to you. Now, in the States, I think they're a little bit more progressive than we are here. A lot of women are going to work. I mean, they were more progressive than they are here. I think they still are. At the time when I started this journey, I couldn't go to work with my hair natural. Like it would draw a lot of attention. Can I touch it? Did you comb it? My hair, if I stick my hair up like this, it stays like that. That's just how my hair is. In the States now, I know that people were more able to kind of do things with their hair natural more before became common here. So it's more common here now, but what I find is that people have a tendency to braid it to encourage the length retention. So while they're braiding it, they're conditioning it and massaging the scalp. It's very uncommon. It's more common than not for people with Black women to uh, to leave their hair out, especially since we have very harsh winters here. The winters make the hair brittle and break easy. So half the year during the winter months, a lot of people tend to braid it. That's a protective style. It's not because we don't love our hair, it's because we don't belong here. We're supposed to be in climates where it's warm outside, where our hair doesn't want to break off like at the sheer thought of. I just think about the cold days I've been in, where I've been in school and I've had a scarf and the back of my hair was rubbing on the scalp and it would break. So like it's easy to say certain things about having natural hair, and then people will complain that Black women can't grow hair. Of course we can grow. Everyone's hair grows. The question is, how is the length retained? Right? So as I love myself more, I'm looking for ways to encourage people to love themselves as well, particularly people that can relate to me. In relations to beauty, that would be someone more so of color. In relations to aging, that could be any woman. In relations to health and fitness, that could be a woman or a man. So that I'd be sharing more of what I've learned, and more of my challenges, and more of my history and things that have happened. Oh, thank you so much. So I get prayers for my children. Believe me when I tell you this, I am so sad about what I've discovered about my children, and about their fathers, and about the families, and about the West Indies, and about witchcraft being prevalent in the West Indies. I'm so saddened by this. I'm also saddened by the fact that I've been going to churches and being bullied there, and now realizing why, because a lot of them practice witchcraft anyway. Not only do they practice witchcraft, but they're religious. And our Lord was not religious. He could sit with people, chill with people. And so, if anyone's been following my journey, you know that I still do. I used to cover my hair. And I was a minimalist, so I wore a lot of black, and I wasn't too much about how I presented. I don't wear makeup, still don't wear makeup. Sometimes I'll put on a little bit of mascara, but also things to help my lashes grow. But I realized that was being very religious. And I was telling my daughter, the one I believe is being called by the Lord right now to do a thing in this hour. I was saying to her, like, how could people, I said, you notice I haven't been dressing the way I used to. And she said, yeah, I've noticed that. And I said, because I don't believe our Lord would want me to be in a position where people could not relate to me. I'm not better than anybody else. I've been through a lot of stuff, just like anybody else. I just was called for a certain thing, and I'm humbly trying to do what the Lord's called me to do. That's all. I don't think I'm better than anybody else. The gifts I have, I'm so grateful. I live a life of gratitude every moment. I thank God for every breath, every step, every victory. I thank Him, because without Him, I know for sure I'd be dead. That's not an understatement. People have tried to do things spiritually speaking. There are people in positions, high positions in this world, who know who I am and are monitoring my moves. I'll give you one other story before I go. I know my life is monitored. I know my phone is monitored. Everything I do, there might be cameras in this room. I don't even know. All I know, the people that are around me are not for me. And I know that as much as there's witchcraft around me, I know that I have gifts as well. I'm just learning how to use those gifts. I also believe in devils. Or demons, and I also believe in angels. Our Archangel Michael and Raphael, and the team, the legion of angels that support us and keep us. I know I have them, and I thank God for them. I wish I could hug them because I know they'll think of all the things I've been through. They have carried me through some things I don't even know. There's no person on this earth I could say I can thank for carrying me through what I've been through. It's strictly our Heavenly Father and His legion of angels. I promise you this. My discernment comes from Him. My victories come from Him and His angels. And I live and also too, I have a father who passed away, and I believe that he's made it. He's watching as I go through this journey, because I believe that he was called as well, and it isolated him as well. He went through a pretty hard and difficult time. I believe his calling came. He got an awakening before his time, and I think that's why he went through what he went through. And I love him. I miss him. He was a hard man to love, but I love him anyway. The story is, so I was with, who I'm going to say is my boyfriend, a dear friend to me. And you never have heard me mention anybody before. So this is someone that has taken the time to get to know me, and I appreciate and love dearly. We were somewhere, and as we left this venue, a young girl approached me. She looks just like my cousin. A young girl approached me. She looks like she's about 20, 21, very skinny, those big funky lashes people wear. And she approached me as I left this venue. It's this a grocery store, but it's a grocery store you can actually eat cooked food. It's like a big deal store. So as I was leaving, she approached me and she said, "Can you help me?" For me, like, someone says, "Help me, what? What? How can I help?" And she's a young girl. She said that this guy, I just took a taxi here and he's telling me that I have to pay with my card and I only have cash. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm trying to think on my feet now because she's young. It's dark. And we had other things to do, and I didn't know what to say or do. Anyway, she proceeded to tell me that she has $10 and she needed to pay him because he was gonna, I don't know, call the police or whatever. She didn't say that, but I'm assuming that's what was gonna happen. So she said she'd give me the $10 and I could pay with my card, if I could pay for my card. I didn't think it was a big deal. Long story short, she gets the $10, gives it to me. I try to swipe my card. It wouldn't tap my card. So the guy said, "You have to insert it and put your PIN." I should have known then. But my friend, he sat and watched me because I'm a strong-minded woman, did all this stuff. And everything was done, she gave me a hug and thanked me. She told me God bless me, which led me to believe, something's not right. Why would she say God bless me? This girl looked very worldly. I'm not going to say that people who are worldly don't know God, but like, I don't walk around looking like a nun. So she must have known something about me. So at that moment, I thought she might have known me. But by that time, she hopped back in the taxi and they drove away. So I knew it was a setup. So we decided we're going to call my bank and get the car canceled. So I called the bank, and as they asked me for my card number. When I gave them my card number, it was the wrong number. They had swapped the card. So they had my card. And I remember the last four digits on my card is different than the card I had in my hand. So I remembered I have another card that's connected to my account. So I gave them that card, and sure enough, they had deposited a check for for $3,500, and this is what they told me they were seeing. So I asked them to close the account, but as they were doing this, they had withdrew $400. So this is after I called, so they knew that that wasn't me. As I think back to when we were in the venue, I realized I saw two men sitting in the venue on laptops. I thought it was odd, but I thought, two grown men in a grocery store on a laptop at that hour. What are they doing here? And I started to put two and two together, and I thought to myself, what's probably happened is that they know me, they study you, they know your weaknesses, and they knew that if a young girl came to me and asked me to help her, that I would. So lately, what's been happening? They said it will take 10 days for them to clear this. So I haven't had access to my account it hasn't been 10 days yet, but they said 10 days or less. So I haven't been able to do anything financially right now because they are, what they say is investigating. But the thing that gets me is that I can't deposit a check into my bank without them holding it. I can deposit cash and the bank recognizes cash different from a check, but I can't deposit a check and withdraw the money. But for whatever reason, these people were able to deposit a check into my account and pull the money right away. I'm trying to figure out, is this the actual bank that's doing this on purpose? And what's happening here? So I'm just sharing with you a lot of what's been going on lately to try and crush my spirits, to try and leave me like in a situation. Anyways, there's more I could share. I won't bombard you with all that, but that's what's been going on with me. My healing journey continues. Um, yeah. There's so much I want to share, more that I want to share with you, but I'll do that when I'm settled. I just went for a run. It was just, like I said, a little short of 3K. I am going to work on my abs and just do what I feel is normal. Like, I believe that if I'm a female and I'm designed to bear children and to be a nurturer, why am I eating like a male who's designed to provide and to protect? I don't think we should be eating the same way. I'm not saying that women shouldn't be physical because, like I said, I do exercise and I do take care of my body, but I don't believe that we should be eating like males do. And so I've been trying to like go by what my body feels like, what my body seems to need. Trying to cut out, like I had been not eating meat, kind of going back to that, eating less meat, more like I do still eat eggs. And what else? A lot of fruits and vegetables. Loving fruits and vegetables. So that's where I'm at. So for the person who was talking about fake hair, I'm not against it. I do believe it's a protective style, especially it's a protective style, especially for people of color who live in climates that are cold. It's very harsh on the hair, right? It's not like for some other cultures they can wash their hair, whip their hair around, and leave the house. We don't have the luxury of that. I can't possibly take my, because I have braids in now, take my braids out without thinking I'm going to have 3 hours to take the braids out, wash the hair and do whatever style it is I need to do to leave the house looking presentable. It's not the same for us. And I was assuming that people of other cultures already know this, but maybe they just don't and don't really care to. So it's our job to kind of know ourselves and to conduct ourselves accordingly, right? I know me, I know my hair, I know my situation, and I'm not going to let someone tell me yes or no based on what my situation is, right? Only I know that. So anyway, I love you all so very much. Things have been very what can I say? Very sad. I've had to cut a lot of people off for my own physical, spiritual, mental well-being. It has been for my benefit. Um, I've had to walk away from situations that were draining me because it was almost like I was doing it for the money. I wasn't getting what I was deserving, and it was depleting me physically, emotionally, spiritually. So that's done. That's a part of my past. Right now, I'm just basically, the Lord has been encouraging me to do this and share my journey. So I'm doing that. Um, I hope you are all doing well. Things have been very heavy. Pray for Jamaica. I've been posting on my Instagram. I've been following, what's God, Tyrese, um, White Yachty. He's a white comedian, Jamaican comedian. And who else? A couple other people, a couple of Jamaican news outlets that are online to share some of what I'm seeing that's happening in Jamaica. Jamaica has places that are usually tourist areas that people go and vacation, but there's also places like where my family's from, where it's country, where people have to drive far to get out there, that have their main roads have been covered with water, and they haven't had anything since the hurricane hit. So if you know a trustworthy outlet to support, please go there and support. Like I said, who is it? White Yachty. I know Tyrese is out there. There's another couple. The husband's African. I can't remember their names. I will put their names in the description. I'm not gonna collect money for anybody because I don't want anyone thinking I rather link you to them. And who else? Sean Paul for sure is doing work out there. And who else? There's quite a few others, people who personally have family out there, who are professionals, who've taken the time to go out and see where their families are at, and discovering their families haven't had food or anything to eat in since the hurricane. They're basically fasting. They're eating, drinking off water. And there's been a few examples of miracles that have happened out there where there's a spring of fresh water that's came out of the ground out of nowhere. So people that are out there are able to access fresh water from the spring. Some things are happening out there. Like I said, I had mentioned that I believe the West Indies is gonna have to answer to God for witchcraft that they're practicing. I don't want to believe that this is what this is going on, but the Lord, the Father that we serve is a just God. He's a fair God. And if people are practicing those kind of things and hurting people intentionally to gain, the Lord's gonna deal with that. So pray for Jamaica. Pray for the people of Jamaica, please. And those other people who are, I know there's other things happening in the globe. I know that there is. But the biggest upheaval right now for me has been what's happened to Jamaica. It was tore up from top to bottom. Anyway, all right, love you all. Remember, you're not a mistake. You are made marvelous. You were specially created for this time. You know, this is such a miraculous time to be alive. You are definitely a special, to think about it. There's religions that have been talking about the end times for generations. there's there are religions that are based on preparing for the return of the Lord. You know this, right? So for you to be here right now and experiencing this, it's bittersweet because it's going to be a time we've never seen before. There's going to be weeping and moaning and gnashing of teeth, but like, who else can say that they've been alive during this time, right? It's a positive way to look at it. Anyway, guys, be blessed. I love you all. Until next time, thank you again for those of you who have supported the channel over the course of the years. I don't know who has means to help, but those who have had the means, I thank you. And I know, again, I will say this: my channel was at 18,000 subscribers, and somehow they were able to, as I mentioned that, someone had been able to infiltrate the channel. I don't know how they do it, and delete people or unsubscribe people. So now my channel's at 16 something. Someone's actively focused on my life and doing all this stuff, and it's sad, but what can you do? They say when you lay with dogs, you get fleas. That's what it is. I hate to say that, but that's what I feel like. Anyway, I love you all, and until next time, I should take that back. That's not even right. I hope you guys are all doing well. Okay, and remember, I can be contacted by email, Instagram, Facebook, more so Instagram and email in the description. Okay, guys, until next time, be blessed. Oh, look at this. Oh, okay. I was gonna go, but there's someone here that is in Jamaica right now. Wow. Well, if you if there's anything you'd like to share, we would love to hear it. I don't know when I'm going to be on next, um, because I like to come on and bring on some scriptures related to what I'm doing, like how I'm living by the word and not being religious about it. So that means I'm gonna have to do some notes. I have my book here. The Lord has led me to keep a book and to write things down. And I've been so disobedient. God knows. He's so patient with me. So today I finally was convicted to get up, get a book, get a pen, and keep it by my side here. So I would love to hear from you. This is Melissa. Uh Melissa 32. I would love to hear how it's going out there. If you're in a position where you guys need extra help, like I said, I'm going to link all these different artists and people who are supporting that I know of in the description box. Because and they've been liking that I've been sharing their story, but I don't know how they must have a lot of people sharing their story. So I don't know if they're like being able to see that I'm sharing that there's places that are not being tended to. It's so crucial. People out there, there's children and people that they can't leave, and people can't get in, and there's no boats or anything to get across this water. So like I said, if you can't send funds or you can't send things, please pray because they need it out there. All right, again, love you. Until next time, be blessed.